welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a minute since my last video, but I am so sorry. Competition prep kind of overwhelmed me a little bit, kind of bit off a little more than I can chew, but it is okay. We are back with our Wellness Wednesdays, and thank you all so much for your support via my social media throughout this whole competition prep process. So in this video, I wanted to kind of recap my competition experience and my competition prep in general and answer some of you all's questions from social media. So as always, let's go. All right, so first things first, I kind of wanted to discuss what shows that I did, what my body weight was at the start of my prep and what my show weight was, just kind of an overview of, show day itself. So I did 2 shows back to back in the first couple of weeks of December. So I first did the NPC Diamond Classic in Boca Raton, Florida. That was my second show this year. I've mentioned in my previous videos that my first show was the Arnold Classic back in March. So it's been a good, I want to say about 6 months or so. I want to say about 6 months from my first show to this one. And I just want to say that I am so much happier with the package that I brought this time around, with competition prep, with competing, with NPC, with bodybuilding. It is very easy to get into the comparison of yourself with other athletes, and so you really want to make sure that you're bringing your best package so that no matter what happens, you're proud of yourself and you're always improving in yourself and not necessarily trying to compete necessarily with your physique and what you bring compared to other people. Of course, when you're on stage, you are competing, it is a competition, but you don't want to get so caught up in everyone else's physique, because even if you're in the best shape of your life, even if you follow someone else's meal plan or someone else's workout, or for whatever reason you got all that information, your body still is not going to look the same because everybody is different. So you always want to make sure you're bringing the best package, as well as follow in the lines of what the judging criteria is for your particular category, and you just bring the best package based on that, and you should be happy no matter what. So like I mentioned before, I did the Diamond Classic as my first show, and then after that I did my first national show, which I was so excited for. I did the NPC USA's in Phoenix, Arizona, and that was a really great show. It had a really great turnout. So those are the shows that I did this year, and so I'm kind of going to give you a breakdown. All right, so just as an overview, I started off my prep at about, I want to say I was like at 127, somewhere between 127 and 130 pounds. I kind of fluctuate between 127 and 130 on my off season, and my stage weight, I was around 121, 122. So I came in a little heavier than my last show. My first show that I did in March, I weighed in about 115. So I wanted to come in a little fuller, not as lean for this show. So I'm really happy with that package that I brought. So I'll kind of show pictures of what I looked like in each consecutive show. Even just with the 1 week difference between the Diamond Classic and the NPC USA show, it was 1 week difference, but I feel like I brought a completely different look, and I am so excited with that look that I brought. I'm most proud of that look, and I feel like I was really happy that I did the 2 shows back to back, because it took the first show to figure out where I could tweak a little bit in the overall look and presentation that I wanted to bring for the USA's, like in regards to hair, makeup, all of that. So although you can't do too much changing to your physique in regards to muscle quality or the size of your muscle within a week's time frame, you can play around with food, just because when you're in competition prep, you're so strict in your diet. So towards the end on your show day, every little gram, ounce, how you play with your food, what your coach gives to you, does really make a big difference. So I do like the look that I brought for the NPC USA's a lot better. I feel like I was a bit more full looking in that show, and then I feel like I really liked my overall package. So my first show, well, the first show out of these two back to back, so I had the curlier hair, and then my second show I straightened it and had more like blown out curls, or like pin curls, and I really liked that look. I kind of got to get used to straightening my hair because I typically don't do that because I'm like natural hair girl, and I always get a little bit of heat damage, so I might need to do a video on how I'm repairing the heat damage that I got from that last show. But I will be on my deep conditioning game so that doesn't keep happening. So, but anyway, I really loved that look, and if you're a natural hair girl, you know how it's like you basically do the same thing to your hair every day, so it's fun to change it up for stage and do something a little different. So I really liked that look, makeup, everything. I really loved the look I brought to the NPC USA's, and I know this is bodybuilding, but your presentation has a huge play in how you look on stage. Everyone looks different on stage, everyone looks great, everyone's in great shape, so you really want those little things to stand out. I got new shoes, I had a new suit, so I really liked the presentation that I brought for these two shows. So for show day, the rundown of show day, I'll just kind of explain that to you all. So you got your check-in the night before. Typically it's the night before because of COVID-19. They split up the USA show to where the women didn't go until Sunday, and then the men went on Saturday. So I checked in a couple days earlier, so it was actually pretty nice because I had a full day to kind of rest my body, relax on Saturday, get a lot of, rest, which I don't really typically get a lot of because I'm always so busy when I'm at home. So it was really nice to have that day of rest before I hit the stage. So you have your check-in, so that's kind of where you decide if you want to add maybe different categories, or if you're in the wellness category. I know for the national qualifier show, there's a bit more categories than the national show. So you can do like novice, true novice, all those different categories. You can add those in if you didn't already register for them beforehand. So I did add novice category to my Diamond Classic show, which novice just means you're like basically a first time competitor. Not true novice because I have been on stage once before, but I'm still new. That was a national qualifying show, so basically it was kind of like my first show because my first show I didn't get to have any spectators thanks to COVID. So I wanted to do novice just to have a little more stage time. So the Diamond Classic, I registered for novice, and I was open class A because, I'm a short girl, so I'm always class A. It was nice flow of everything. I mean, usually you try to get there early. There's a lot of, depending on how many athletes you have. So if you're ever planning on competing, just get there a little early. So that kind of takes the stress off of trying to fit everything in and feeling rushed when you go to check in. And then I always like to schedule my tan for after I've checked in, because I like to do my tan as late as possible because you can't shower or anything until basically your show is over, you are on stage, everything is done. Then you can shower, because once your tan is on, you can't shower, obviously. You don't want to rub it off. So I checked in, got my tan afterwards, and then just ate my last meal for the day, which my coach wanted me to have some steak and fries as my last meal. And then, just kind of tried to relax my body as much as possible. A lot of stress on your body does not look good in your physique. You can hold a lot of water if you have too much stress on you. You want your legs to be elevated. You don't want a lot of water in your physique when you're on stage. So you want to be as relaxed and calm as possible. So really try to plan ahead of time for your check-in and your tanning and all those things that you have to get done before hitting the stage, so you can be as calm as possible. As much as you can have prepared ahead of time, the better. So for the Diamond Classic, I placed fairly well. I'm a little disappointed in my placing, but it's okay. So I got second place in my open class, and then I got third in my novice class. And I'm a little disappointed because I really liked the package that I brought, And then when I spoke to the judges afterwards, they said, you know, hey, you looked really great in the evening than you did in the morning. Whatever you do, don't change it. So it wasn't really the best feedback because most of the time they tell you what little tweaks you need when you come back. But it is what it is. I am happy that, you know, I got nationally qualified. So that's the whole goal that I needed there. And, you know, and everyone's not going to be happy all the time with your placing. You just got to get your feedback, be gracious, appreciate their time, and appreciate the time you have on stage. At least enjoy the process. And then you take whatever feedback the judges give you and you come back to the next show even harder. You work hard. And I think that's kind of like the gamble and the love for bodybuilding is, you know, you never know until you're on stage. You never know who you're going to be against. You never know, you know, what the other athletes are going to look like. So that's why I said before, you always want to just be proud of the package that you brought, because no matter what, you're not going to go home like depressed and want to like give up forever. Like, of course you might be sad, of course, if you don't place the way you like. It's disappointment because you worked so hard, but you can still be proud of yourself no matter what. So I got second in my open class A, third in novice, and so that's how I placed in the Diamond Classic. I'll insert pictures of what I looked like on that show. And then my second show, the NPC USA's, which I absolutely loved that show. It was a great show, very well organized. It had a great turnout. I mean, I absolutely loved that show. That's probably like my favorite show. Like, I guess the Arnold probably would have been my favorite if it wasn't, you know, the whole COVID restriction thing, but I really loved the show and I had so much fun in that show. I got first call outs, which is amazing, and my first national show ever. And then I got sixth place, and I was so close to being awarded. They awarded top 5. I was so close, so that was a bit of a, like, it was 2 shows that I was like so close, but it's okay. You got to get your judge feedback and you work hard for the next one. But I really loved the package that I brought to that show. As I mentioned before, I checked in a few days earlier on the Friday. I went on stage on that Sunday. Backstage, it was a pretty quick moving show. Since we were separated, every category was separated, so I feel like it moved a little faster. I think that's the positive, honestly, with COVID, is the shows move a lot smoother because you've got your allotted time and everyone needs to kind of move you in and out to make sure all the athletes get their time slot. So, great show. It was in Phoenix. It was originally in Vegas. They moved it to Phoenix, so that kind of threw me off. It was a lot of mishaps, I'm not gonna lie, with that show, with, you know, my car rental, all that kind of stuff. But that was more like just personal things. So please, my only bit of advice is if you're going out of town, just try your hardest to like maybe confirm as much as possible. But this is kind of that day and age to where COVID, anything can happen. So just, you know, take everything with a grain of salt and make the best of whatever situation that you're in and just enjoy the process. So it was a really nice show. Like I said, it was probably my favorite show thus far. I loved the package that I brought. It was a really good time. All the athletes and competitors were really nice. You know, it was a great stage. It was really a great show. So I got 6th place in that show. And afterwards, I had a great pizza and some donuts. So I had my little reward after that. So mine kind of overall takeaways from the show. So just some little pointers that I can help you guys out with if you're going to be competing. So you got your morning, your pre-judging, the morning show, and then you have your finals. So they basically judge you, look at your physique. That's where you do a lot more of the, you know, quarter turns. You're doing a lot more of the comparisons in the morning, and then the finals, you kind of come through and kind of see just how you place. It's not a lot of comparisons unless it's just really close and the judges want to see you one more time. So that's the difference between when I say morning show and evening show. So it's just basically pre-judging and finals. And then another takeaway that I would recommend is try to get judge feedback as soon as possible, because I know for me, I was a little down at the Diamond Classic with how I placed, and I just felt like, you know, I should have won that show. I looked great. I was so confident going into that show. But when I got the judge feedback, it actually did help a lot, because once you can kind of see where their head is at, where their mindset was at when they were judging you, it can put everything into perspective. And so you're not so hard on yourself, because hey, at least I have a piece of information that I can go and I can apply and I can work on this. So yeah, so just have fun no matter what show you're doing. Really enjoy the process. Like, I love the process of seeing what your body can do, seeing how your body can change. I love bodybuilding. I love having the best physique and really taking care of myself, and I feel like competing is just like the ultimate is the ultimate test to your body and the test to your discipline and your motivation. And I just love the process. And like, as soon as I got done with one show, you're thinking, oh great, I get to eat what I want, I get to relax for a little bit. And I honestly, like, I have that day where I ate what I want, then I'm like, okay, I want to get back to work, because I just love the process so much. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that competing was so expensive, like, I would literally do like 7-8 shows a year, just because I love being on stage. I love the fanfare of it. I love the fun. It's just, who gets to get on stage and show off? Like, no one gets to do that. So that's my takeaway. I don't think I'm forgetting anything. I did want to answer a few of you guys' questions from my post on Instagram. So follow my Instagram if you have not already. So just a few questions I wanted to answer for you all. I don't believe I forgot anything, but if I did, please comment them below and I will try to get back to all of that, because I want this process to be as helpful as possible, especially for first-time competitors or anyone who wants to get into it maybe in the future. So yeah, so let's get into some of those questions. Okay, so my first question, and I have them all kind of in front of me here, so sorry if I'm looking down, so I'm looking at. So my first question is, how long have I been competing? So my first show was in March 2020. So that's about 9 months, I believe. So this is my first year of competing. So my first show was in March, and then my last 2 shows were in December. So I've done 3 shows in total. So a little under a year I've been competing. All right, so my next question is, how will I be training off season? So off season is honestly more important, as we like to call it, improvement season, because your off season, or your time that you're not in competition prep, is probably more important than the actual prep process, because you don't put on size during prep. You can't really change your physique in regards to like muscle quality, because you're always going to lose a little bit of muscle when you're competing, just because your body is so depleted. Your body is so depleted on, you know, nutrients, and you're not eating as full as normal. You're very disciplined. So you want your off-season training to be as capitalized and as big and push as hard as possible, because you're going to be eating a little more. So when you're eating more, you've got more energy, you've got more carbs in your system. So I try to train as heavy and as big as possible, because for me, I know my biggest thing, and the most feedback that I've got from judges is size. So I know I have a really good shape. Everyone told me all the judges have said I have really good shape. I've got the look. It's just size. The nature of wellness is they just have really big quads, really big glutes. So, you know, the bigger you can come in, the better. Not so much big as in striated and, you know, like more masculine looking, but you're gonna want more shape on you, want more size on you. So off season, my training doesn't really change in regards to the weightlifting. I still lift 5 days a week. That doesn't change. The only thing that's dropped is my cardio drops from, you know, 5 days a week and conditioning days. I don't have that. Typically during off season, I don't really have a conditioning day. My coach might add it in if we just want to burn a little more fat for whatever reason. So my cardio just has decreased a lot, but my weight training is still the same amount of days. Still try to have the same amount, if not more, intensity in those workouts, so that way I can put on the size that I need for show. Because when you're in competition prep, you're basically just cutting for the most part, or slowly, you know, shedding that fat. So you're gonna have less energy because you're not eating as much. So I really try to capitalize on the time where I am eating more and I have more energy and I have more time to sleep and more of a, you know, regular lifestyle. So training is basically the same in regards to lifting, weight training. So I love this next question. They wanted to know all the feels. So basically, how did I feel pre-show, post-show, all those feelings. So pre-show, I was really excited because I just love being on stage. Like when I'm not on stage, all I can think about is when is the next prep. I don't know how healthy that is, but I just could not wait to get back on stage. And I think more so because everything was shut down during my off season. So it was like the worst off season because I couldn't really get to the gym and train. That, you know, helps with not being on stage because at least you get to train. You get to eat a little more because, hey, you're lifting heavy in the gym. So I had like a really strict off season for most of it. So I was just so excited to get back on stage. I felt so much more confident this time around because, hey, I did the Arnold, which is a huge show to do for your first show. But it kind of, you know, threw me in on the deep end. And I just was like, hey, if I can do that show, if I can deal with all of the, you know, emotional side that goes into doing the Arnold, where you're basically against the best athletes in the world, then this next show I was like, oh, piece of cake, no problem. But not so much no problem in the sense of, oh, I can just train however I want and not push hard, because obviously I didn't get first. But I was just really excited because I felt like, hey, I can come in really strong. I can hang with the best of them. I'm going to bring the best package ever. So I was really confident and just like, hey, I'm going to bring it this show. And even though I didn't win, like, I felt like, hey, I looked freaking amazing. And that was the best look that I had. And sometimes the person who necessarily doesn't look the best wins. And I'm not saying that to like throw shade at anybody, like, because everyone works hard, but everything is subjective too, so you kind of have to take judging with a grain of salt. So if you look your best and you know you brought it, like sometimes it's like, hey, it wasn't my day, but hey, I brought it and I looked the best. So I loved it. I don't really get nervous before going on stage. I'm more nervous like going to check-in. Is I feel like when my nerves come in, I'm more nervous with all of the process because it's like, okay, this is really happening. But the day of show, like once my hair and makeup is done, once I have my suit on, my whole way onto the show, I'm like, let's get it, let's kill it. Because you kind of have to kind of get into character. You kind of have to be this larger than life person because you're on a big stage. You got to take up that stage. You got to draw the attention. You have to bring you're presenting yourself. You're basically like performing on stage. And I love that. And I think it's because I went to art school. Like I was a bit of an art freak. So, you know, I did performing arts. I did dancing. I was a musician. So like I like that feeling of being on stage. And so I get to take fitness, something I love, and combine it with that kind of performing arts background. And I just absolutely love being able to perform, love being on stage. Post show, I'm not gonna lie, like I was really disappointed after the first show, like because I am so passionate about this. Like I cried when I didn't get the placement that I thought, because like I just love this so much, because you put so much of yourself and your time and your energy into this. So I was mad and I was disappointed, and so I went from like, yeah, I'm on stage, to, oh, I didn't place well, and now I'm disappointed, now I'm sad. And then you have to kind of bring yourself back and be like, you know what, but you did great. And it's just it's very emotional after the show. That's why I always say, like, try to have everything in perspective, or try to have a goal outside of just winning. So that way, no matter what, you still feel good at the end of it. And I think that was something that I had to learn this time around, because the Arnold, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it was my first show. So when it's your first show, you don't really have the highest expectations. Like, obviously you don't want to be like dead last or whatever, but at the end of the day, my expectations for the Arnold weren't as big as they were for these shows. So I kind of had to learn on the emotional side of competing, where, you know, you are gonna get knocked down, you are gonna be disappointed, but it's gonna just make you a stronger athlete and then a stronger person in general, because you're learning how to, you know, take the punches or roll with the punches in life. And every day and every show is not gonna be your show, and it's not everyone else's fault. It's not oh, this person doesn't like me, or it's so political, or whatever people might say. At the end of the day, okay, you didn't win, but you have to love the process, and you have to respect every athlete and every judge that's in that room, because it may not be your day, but hey, it's someone else's day, and when it's your day, you want everyone to cheer and be in your corner when it's your day, because your time is gonna come. So my feels afterwards were a big ball of every type of emotion you can think of, but at the end of the day, I walked away very proud of myself. It took the second show to be like, I'm proud of myself. I worked hard, and you know what? I can't wait to get back on the saddle, and I can't wait for the next one. So, kind of all over the place with emotions, but at the end of the day, I love this, and I'm just genuinely happy to have the opportunity to do this, and I can't wait to do it again and as many times as I can. So yeah, those were the emotional feelings. So the next question I received was reverse diet. So I guess, how am I dieting after the show? Obviously, it's not healthy to be on a strict competition style diet for every day of your life, for your whole life. It's not practical, and it's not going to be the best for your immune system, because you're kind of depleted on a lot of nutrients. So this is where I say a great coach comes into handy. I know some coaches, like, when you're done, and they just let you, go off on the deep end. But I love the fact that I have a really great coach, Coach Tracy. So I do still have a plan post-show. So right now I'm just on a macros-based plan, not a meal plan at the moment, most likely because it's the holiday season. I know my last show, she gave me an actual meal plan, but it's just kind of helping me get through the festive season, because come on, it's Christmas. So let's be real, I'm gonna be eating on Christmas. But so right now I'm just following a macros-based plan. So my carbs are about the same, honestly, as they were during prep, but not like the end of prep. So like towards the beginning of my prep, where my carbs were a little higher, my diet is along those lines, because you don't want to go from like extremely no carbs, all of a sudden you're eating pizzas and fries and hamburgers every day. That's a huge shock to your system, and then you can blow up, get super bloated. So you do want to kind of keep in mind, like, gradually add the carbs in, gradually introduce certain nutrients back into your body. Because I know towards the end, I don't have any dairy, I don't have any sweeteners, like, I'm super dry, water is really low at the end, so you're going to slowly want to add, the nutrients and the fluids all back into your system. So I had my pig out moment after the show, but I tried to stay as close to meal plan as possible after the show. Like, I know last time I had like one cheat meal a week, and I'm pretty sure that's going to be the same once we get past the Christmas holiday. And even with that, I'm trying not to go crazy with that, because I really do like having, some abs. I know I'm not going to be shredded off season, but I don't want to be like bloated looking, and I don't want to, honestly, I personally don't want to look like I looked like my last off season. Like, I want to keep some sort of definition. And everyone's got to keep it in perspective. No one's going to look like you do on show day all year round. I know some people post on Instagram, they just look freaking shredded all year round. Like, no, they're not. So, right now, my macro split is about 150 grams of carbs, about 200 grams of protein, more or less, depending on if I'm training legs or if I'm not training that day. So if it's a rest day, I don't have as many carbs. And then about like 60 to 70 grams of fat. So yeah, so it's not super strict, but I can't go crazy either, because you don't want to lose all the progress that you made. And as I mentioned before, your off season is very important. So you don't want to gain all this weight, because it's just going to make your prep that much harder, and you're going to be so much more deprived during your prep, because you're taking all of these nutrients away and then adding them back in. All right, so my last question, I got this a few times, so I'm gonna kind of combine them, where we're asking what was my 2021 plans, or if I'm gonna compete again, so I'm assuming that kind of means the same thing. So 2021, I'm so excited for 2021, because that means I get to compete again. And so my whole goal, honestly, is pro card, road to pro. That is my focus. I want that pro card. I know a lot of people are like, you can have a great fitness career without the pro card. and I know that is true, but for me, that is just a personal goal that I really want to be an IFBB pro athlete. So that is the goal for 2021. The full NPC schedule is not out for 2021. So once the schedule is out, once the holiday season is over, me and my coach are kind of going to go back to the drawing board and we'll decide what shows are going to be the best. So I'm thinking maybe somewhere around late spring, early summer, I'll compete again, because I kind of want to get past my birthday in March. So maybe after my birthday, I'll start a prep again. I kind of want to do one as soon as possible, but I really want to put on size on the off season. So I want to give my body some time to put on some size before I cut back down again. So 2021, the goal is pro card. And I am so excited that you guys kind of followed along with this journey. I know I fell off for a couple weeks and I'm so sorry. YouTube is new for me. I know that's not an excuse, but I think I kind of bit off a little more than I could chew with trying to vlog all this while working a lot for these shows. So I am back and I will be bringing you guys videos every Wednesday. So thank you so much for following along with this journey. I hope this was helpful. And if you are planning to compete for 2021, please comment below. I love sharing this journey with everyone, especially if you're a wellness girl. I like to, wellness community is growing in the US since it's new here. So I try to be on top of my wellness game with the girls out there, try to build a little sisterhood. So if you're gonna compete, please let me know. And please follow me on Instagram, reach out to me. I love the support and I love just talking to people about this stuff because, hey, I'm all about like cheering each other on, like queens fix each other's crowns, no need for jealousy, no need to be like, oh, what she's got, because it's going to be everyone's time. And what God has for you is for you. So I'm going to enjoy this process and I will support and enjoy your process with you. So thank you so much for following along. And I will see you all in my next series, as well as I will be posting just general health and wellness videos, some little tips, some little tricks for lifestyle. So if you're not a competitor, you can still find some value out of these videos. And then my next endeavor is I'm going to be launching my fitness brand. So I'm going to be starting to advertise my bands. I'm going to be doing a New Year's program. So please look out on my Instagram. Also on my website, qdollwellness.com. I will be starting the registration for that at the end of this week after Christmas, and we will be launching that program at the New Year. So please join along with me. Let's all transform together. There'll be a cash prize for the best transformation, and 2021 is going to be the best year yet. I mean, it can't get any more crazy than 2020, and if we made it through this, we can make it through anything. So thank you guys so much again for following my journey, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.